this video, I'll be sharing with you a requested tutorial from my group on how to cut this Basque dress with side ruche skirt. So if this is something you like, please kindly hit on the subscribe button and let's dive right into today's video. So to start, I've gone ahead to mark out the basic measurement for this dress. So you need your shoulder to bust, under bust, waistline, 7 inches to get your hip length, and then your full dress length. So when you're adding your full dress length, you can go ahead to add additional few inches depending on how long you want it to be. So I went ahead to mark my shoulder divided by 2 and I came down by 1 inch. I'll go ahead to place my tape and draw my ruler and rule out a slanted line for my shoulder slope. Next, I'm going to find my chest line, which is my bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. Before doing that, I'll mark out a basic neckline of 3 by 2.5 inches for the front neckline because the front neckline is a bit high. So after this, I'll go ahead to mark my chest line, which is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. So I drew a straight line on that point. Now you're going to mark back what you have on the shoulder and draw out a straight line. Divide what you have here into 2 and mark. From this point, you're going to come out by ½ inch and then place your bust circumference divided by 4. So when I was doing this, I realized that I mistakenly placed my bust circumference, not the shoulder measurement. I'll go ahead to reconnect it at this point, then draw out my armhole. So after I'm done marking this pattern, while looking at it, you notice that there's no dart on the dress. At the upper part of the neckline, I'll mark 2 inches after my neckline and I will connect. After I'm done connecting, I'll just go ahead to connect it back with my marker. The next step now is to go ahead to insert my measurement. Just like I said, if you look at this pattern, there's no dart. I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4 and add 1 inch for my sewing allowance. Mark my under bust circumference divided by 4, add my sewing allowance. Mark my waist circumference divided by 4, add my sewing allowance. My hip is 40 divided by 4, I'll mark, then add my sewing allowance. My under bust and my waist is the same measurement, which is 28 inches divided by 4. So whatever I have on the hip, I'll take it all the way down, or you can take out 1 inch or ½ inch from it. So from this point now, I'll go ahead to connect this all the way to the lower part. After connecting, I'll go ahead to use my marker to outline this to make it more visible for you to see. So the next step I'll take now is to go ahead to draw out the basque. I'll come in by my sewing allowance and I'll go ahead to extend this all the way to the front part of this pattern. Then go ahead to decide where you want it to stop. So I'll place my tape and measure from my waist to knee point, and from there I'll just come up a bit like 3 inches or 2 inches because that is actually very low. The basque is almost going towards the knee. So you can also use this or use what is okay for you. So after this now, I'll cut this out and I'll use it to trace out the other side of my pattern. So to use this to cut the back, I went ahead to mark a zipper allowance for the back and I placed it. So for your zipper allowance, you can use 1.5 to 2 inches. So after that, I used my marker to trace this out and I'll go ahead to cut this pattern out. After cutting this out, what I will do is to go ahead to use this pattern as the back pattern, and I'll be taking out the zipper bulge at the back. So I'll go in by ½ inch and I'll extend this all the way to the lower part and extend it up. Now I'll go ahead to cut out that part that I don't need on this pattern. So after this, for the back pattern, I'm going to make the basque not too deep because it is a requested tutorial and is actually how the back was looking like, the actual picture that was sent. So I'll go ahead to cut this out now. What I'm going to do is to place this front and I'll cut it out also. After cutting it out, what I'm going to do now is to go ahead to label both the front and the back, and I'll be placing it together. So you have to place this pattern on another fabric this way, and now you're going to slash and spread out the actual pattern so that you're going to have more folding or ruche at the sides of your pattern. So you can use a slash and spread for this method, or you can just go ahead to drape it on a mannequin. That is if you have a pinnable mannequin. So I'll just go ahead to cut out these lines and I'm going to go ahead to cut it open, and I'll also go ahead to cut out lines on this part. But for this side is going towards the zip only, so I will not slash much. The draping that I have there is just on the zipper part of the dress, just to give it a little ruche. So now I'll just cut this open. So just like I said, this is not the only method. You can actually go ahead to drape or wrap this with the help of a pinnable mannequin. So you can go ahead to open this up and spread it as much as you want. So here is a pattern paper that I'm using, so I can't really spread it that much. Even if I do, the pattern paper is not as flexible as a fabric. So after spreading, go ahead to trace what you have round. So when you're spreading out yours, go ahead to open it very well. But when you're spreading it, also make sure that what you have at the side matches the other side of the pattern. And I'll also go ahead to cut this part open. So whatever you cut out here, you'll be folding it. You're going to run a stitch on it, and you're going to fold it to rhyme with the basque area of this dress. So I'll just go ahead and cut this open and spread it a bit. So while opening it, you also take note of the shape you are cutting out, because whatever you cut out is what will how your dress will turn out to be. And also note the center of the pattern. So this is a pattern paper. I cannot spread this pattern this much. I can't spread it more than this. So I'll just go ahead and open it up this way. So trace out the side also of the other side of the pattern. So now after I'm done outlining the sides, what I'll do is to go ahead to trace this out. So now note that center point where the front meets the back. That is very important, because after joining your upper bodice, that is where you join to the sides of your pattern, and also notch where your basque will stop at both sides of your pattern. So now what you're going to do is, after sewing the upper part of your body, now you're going to sew a gather stitch on it. Like on this side, you're going to run a gather stitch, and whatever gather stitch you have, or pleating or folding, like whatever pattern they have there, if it's a pleated pattern, you're going to pleat it. If it's a gathered pattern, you're going to do that. So you can actually go ahead to pleat it, and when you're pleating it, make sure that the notched part of that fabric meets the basque, where the basque of the dress stopped, and then you're going to fold it and attach it. Now also on the other side, just like I said, you need to join the upper part of your body. Sorry, the upper part of the dress. So that part that you slashed and ruched, that you slashed on the zipper, you're going to use your needle and thread, tack it, like sew a gather stitch there, so that you're going to have a gather or ruche. After that, you're now going to add a zipper to it and join it to the other side. So if you have any question regarding this pattern drafting, go ahead to leave your comment at the comment section.